Dr. Milne. Hello there. Vic Milne, my goodness, so nice to see you. I bet you've walked through that tunnel a few times, haven't you?
Yes, indeed.
You used to play for the Villa in, what was it, the 1920s?
Yes.
And, what, centre-half?
Yes, yes.
Tell us how you came to Villa. You came from Scotland.
Yes, Aberdeen.
What was the transfer fee for you in those days?
About 1,500.
£1,500?
Yes, yes.
That would make you a very valuable player by modern standards.
Perhaps so.
Yeah, you played for Villa now, way back in the 20s for about half a dozen years. What was your big moment? What was the big event for Villa in those days?
Well, the biggest occasion was when we got the final and unfortunately we were beaten by Newcastle 2-0.
That's right, you got in the final of the FA Cup. That was the second one held at Wembley, wasn't it?
Yes, the second one.
And against Newcastle.
That's right.
Well, how did the game go? I know you lost, but how did it work out, Vic?
Well, I think the first half we might have been well in front, but things went wrong in front of goal and their goalkeeper played a marvellous game and we just didn't score. And Billy Walker unfortunately got injured, got knocked against the upright, and that rather perhaps upset him for temporarily.
But in general, do you think the boys were a little bit unlucky not to win that one, perhaps?
Well, I think so. I may have been prejudiced, but I honestly think we might have won that game.
In the 1930s, the Villa acquired another great player from Scotland. He was right half Jimmy Gibson.
Oh, hello,
Jimmy, what are you thinking about next Saturday's final?
Yes, I'm just down here looking over the ground and just trying to recall many of the happy memories that this club had for me. And,
now, you came from Partick Thistle?
Partick, yes.
And what year was that, Jimmy?
That was 26-7, Simon.
And how much did they pay for you?
About roughly just under £6,000.
Oh, it was a princely sum in those days.
It was, there's no question about that.
What did it mean to you, coming down from Scotland to a team like Aston Villa? Did you know about them? Had you heard about them? Did they mean much to you before you joined?
Well, as a matter of fact, when I was signing the final forms, before the transfer, my dad stopped me. He said, the one thing we haven't become aware of here is which club are you going to? And the reply was Aston Villa. Well, it was shattering to me because even then these people down here had a reputation which had got well into the north of the border. So
that old Aston Villa magic was still
yes,
abroad then.
oh, there was no question about that. And I don't think that anything I had heard or read about them was any mistake at all. I mean...
You were never disillusioned?
Oh, no. This is the most perfect club that I think ever was created, Simon. There's no question about it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, what were the great days when you were here? What was the biggest occasion?
Well, the biggest occasion I think that I took part in here was the day we beat the Arsenal. I was playing centre-half back then on that day. Yeah. And they were at the top of their powers, you know, and we licked them 5-3 after being about 3 times in arrears, you see. Yeah. But I think that one of the happiest memories I have of Villa Park is my association with Joe Tate and Alec Talbot. Yeah. All 6 foot odd people.
And here's one of the Villa's great defenders of the past and one of their most loyal club men, Mush Callaghan. Great defender and still works for the club, still employed by Aston Villa. Well, Mush, you've had some memorable moments with this great club, Aston Villa. What was the great one when they said that you nearly started the last war?
That was funny. We got out of Germany to play a match.
You were going on tour over there, yeah?
On tour, so yeah. And we wanted to scrapes, you know, and I go in, bang, blows on the floor. Going to kill me. Of course, only kidding.
But then afterwards, they wanted you to stand and give the Nazi salute.
Oh, yeah. But we didn't stand for that either.
You didn't want to do that?
No.
So when you came back, they started saying that Villa was responsible for...
That's it.
Well, now, you've seen some great times yourselves. The boys who play for Villa now are going to be in for a great occasion this Saturday. What are their prospects?
I think they've got a good chance.
If that goal could talk, it would tell some remarkable stories, because it was in that particular net that was planted one of the fastest cup goals of all time, scored for Aston Villa and it was scored by that great inside forward, George Edwards. George, that was a cup semi-final, if I remember rightly.
Yes, Manchester United, 1948. Oh, it was a packed, full house day, and we came out against a cracker Manchester United side. We kicked off, Trevor Ford put the ball to Sailor Brown. Sailor Brown put it out to Leslie Smith. Leslie Smith crossed it, and I hit it first time, wham, in the back of the net. We're 1-up.
How many seconds did that take?
13.5 seconds.
Well, what a terrific start. It wasn't such a happy ending, though, was it?
Oh, dear, no. They were a great side then. We were 4-1 down half-time. We came out again second half, determined to make a fight of it. Got within 5-4. Manchester scored another one, made it 6-4. But what a fantastic game to be engaged in.
Yeah, indeed. Well, apart from that exciting start and that rapid first goal, you've scored some good goals at the other end as well. I think there was one famous occasion when you punched one in, wasn't there?
Oh, yes, yes. That was 1944 against Blackpool in the Cup. Blackpool had practically an international side out then, due to army instructors and everything, and they could play for any club on loan. And we played them before about 70,000 at Villa Park in a two-leg tie. We were a goal down to start with. We finished up winning 3-1. I picked the ball up just in their half. I beat 3 men, got through to the penalty area. It was just to put it in the net when I was fouled from behind. As I fell, the ball was in front of me, so I just punched it, and it went in the net.
Aston Villa, of course, have the greatest cup tradition of them all. They've won the FA Cup 7 times, the last time in 1957, and they were the first winners of the Football League Cup. Here's the centre-half who played in both those finals, Jimmy Dugdale. Well, Jimmy, that cup final appearance at Wembley must have been the greatest occasion in your professional career.
Well, there's no doubt about it, Simon. A Wembley appearance for any professional player is the ultimate in his profession. An absolutely gorgeous occasion. Thrills, excitement, the lot. They're all there. Everybody wants to do it. Everybody.
You get a bit scared as you come out of that tunnel there?
Oh, it's terrifying, terrifying. Changing in the dressing room, hearing the shouts, the cheers, the sing-songs, and there you go up the tunnel. An amazing sight meets you. Thousands of people chanting away. Really exciting.
When you come off and get that winner's medal, that's the greatest thing.
That's even better. That's even better.
Yeah. Now, of course, you played in the last successful side, the League Cup winner's side, but that wasn't at Wembley, was it?
No, it was. The final was played here at Villa Park. The first round was played at Rotherham. We got beat 2-0. Then the second leg was played at Villa Park here, and we eventually run out 3. We won the match 3.
3-0.
3-0.
Yeah. So you won by the aggregate.
On the aggregate, yes.
Yeah. Well, now, of course, thoughts go to Wembley this Saturday. What advice would you give the boys now, this present Villa team? Do you think they can win?
I certainly think that they can win. Although Spurs have been a bogey side for the Villa for a long time, I think this bogey's been laid. I think these boys are going to win it on Saturday. Against popular opinion, this is, but I believe they will.
Now come to the thick of it, Brian. Try and get to it on the bench. Okay, I'll try and drop it 3 yards. Well done. Too hard. That's it. Come to the pitch. To the bench. Do it. That's it. Get the 3 yards. To the pitch. Well done, Jim. Do it. Well done, Fred.
This is Pat McMahon against Brian Tyler. The idea now, we're making it a little bit more difficult. That once they get one shot in, he's going to make him take another one now. He's making him go again. And Brian will close it again now. They're about 40 yards out of goal now. Pat's very quick. Once again, he's giving himself a bad angle, and he shot from a little bit too far out that time. We now have Andy Lockett and George Curtis. George is closing it. He's Andy. Andy's taken it to the left and should hit it in, but he's missed. He's taking him on again. George is closing it again, closing it again. He'll give himself a chance here, and he's cracked it in. Here we have Brian Tyler and Pat McMahon. The idea is we've got a 1-against-1 situation, and hopefully Pat can finish with a shot there with John Dunn in goal. So you're involving three players, really, a goalkeeper, a defender and a forward. As you can see now, a defender is starting about 15 yards away from the forward. It's to get him to close it as quickly as possible and then win the ball if possible. Here's Willie Anderson against Charlie Aitken, and it's a good chip and John saves it. Willie's gone again now against Charlie Aitken, and he's now taking it to his right and he hits it again and he cracks this one in.
Well, Vic, the boys look to be fit, happy and raring to go. Any problems at all?
No problems at all, so I'm very pleased with the way things have been going this week. They're very relaxed at the moment, and this is the way I want it. Obviously, I feel that a little bit of tension will build up towards the end of the week, but at the moment, it's fine.
They're looking remarkably relaxed at the time. You haven't had this bugbear of tension, some of the players going into their shell and biting their nails and worrying the life out of you?
No, well, I wanted to announce the 12 as early as possible this week, the 12 that would be playing on Saturday, and I did this as early as possible. Today I will announce the substitute to to clear that up as well, so that hopefully they'll be completely relaxed now before Saturday.
Yeah, this represents just about your strongest 11 or your strongest squad, I should say, Vic.
Yes, I feel so. Yes. I think we have a nice blend, with this 12.
And what do the players themselves think about their chances against Spurs? Are they worried about this big thing about Spurs being a first division side, a glamour club and so on?
No, I don't think they're worried. We respect them. We respect Spurs for what they are, a first division team with a very good first division team with a lot of very good players. But we have confidence in our own ability, and this is the main thing.
You had a look at Spurs in a recent game, I think, didn't you?
Yes, we went down there last week to see them play against West Bromwich Albion, and we had a little chat on Monday, general chat about what we saw, and other than that, we haven't done too much about it. What we've tried to do this week is to, we've carried on as normal as we do every week, and just try to improve on the things that we believe in.
Just taking it as another game. Did you spot any weaknesses in Spurs?
I think all teams have weaknesses, but obviously they have a lot of strengths, and on last week's performance, I'm sure that they can play a lot better than last week.
Now, taking the gloomy side, supposing you should lose, is this going to affect league performances? Will there be a big deflation in the boys?
I wouldn't think so, Simon. In fact, I'm sure it won't. Whether we win or whether we lose, I don't think it will affect us at all. We've developed a character now within the club and in the players themselves, and I'm sure we have overcome a lot this season. I'm sure that we can overcome anything that happened on Saturday and, win or lose.
Well, I was talking to some Villa players of the past recently, and they're all inspired by this aura that surrounds Villa, this indefinable magic. Does the present Villa team feel that, Vic?
I feel we're developing this, and I think that they're beginning to feel it. I think they're beginning to feel it this season because of the wonderful support, and I think at Wembley on Saturday, I think Wembley won't have seen anything like 30,000 Aston Villa fans there. I don't think they will have experienced anything like this before either at Wembley.
So this great Villa tradition adds up to a fine thing to have behind you.
Well, it's a fine thing to have behind you is 30,000 Villa fans.
Oh, it was beyond my wildest dreams, Simon, yes.
They've really done extremely well. And how much of this is due to the manager? Because the players seem a level-headed lot these days.
Oh, I think Vic must take a great deal of the credit because he had a difficult job to lift their morale and spirit, which was fairly low when he took over. And this is where he excels, and the players virtually worship him.
Yes, he's done marvellously well, as you say. But on this great occasion, when I know your heads are all up there in the clouds, is there another side to it? What kind of a headache has it been, for example, making sure that all your regular supporters get to see this match?
Well, it hasn't been a headache, Simon, but we certainly have given it a great deal of thought and put a lot of work and time into it, inasmuch as that 2 years ago I went to the public and appealed to them to assist me. I told them that I couldn't do it alone, or when I say I, that's myself and my colleagues on the board, and they came to our help, and I promised them then that if we reached Wembley or any other big occasion, I would be like the old elephant and never forget them. So consequently, I've had the opportunity now to repay them by seeing that every genuine supporter who did as we asked, and when I say as we asked them several times at the beginning of this season to keep vouchers, in the programmes, and as long as they had 6 vouchers, they certainly got a ticket. Of course, we guaranteed each season ticket holder a ticket, and we guaranteed each shareholder a ticket. And they've all been distributed, just one per person, and we think that the 99% of the tickets have gone into the right hands.
Well, what about the game itself then? Now, you're going in against one of the great glamour clubs of London, Tottenham Hotspur. Do you really think Villa have got a chance against them?
Well, there are 11 men on either side, and if Villa perform as they did against Manchester United or Burnley or Carlisle, I think that we've got a good chance. But, you know, we're realistic. I want to be realistic at all times at Aston Villa. We are a 3rd division side, and I suppose in theory the odds are against us. But nevertheless, I'm quite sure of this, that at 5:15 on Saturday evening, Tottenham Hotspur will know they've been in a hell of a game of football.